So today we're going to be showing you an experiment that helps illustrate kind of the differences between acids and bases. So we have a simple experiment here that we're going to show you. The first ingredient we're going to use is called glucose, otherwise known as just basic sugar. The other thing we're going to use is methylene blue, and the other thing we're going to use is sodium hydroxide.
We need water.
And water. All right, so let's get the experiment started.
All right, we're gonna take our warm water, pour it into our flask. Oh, this is very warm. Yeah, it's warm, all right.
About 60 milliliters of warm water.
Yep.
Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add the whole bottle of glucose. And we're just gonna dump all of the glucose in.
After that, we'll add 5 drops of our methyl blue.
Perfect.
And 3 big spoons of sodium hydroxide.
So what we're doing is we're creating a solution containing glucose and methylene blue. And what this is doing is taking up a lot of electrons from the glucose. So the methylene blue is taking electrons from the glucose and turning blue. And now what we're gonna do, we're gonna add sodium hydroxide to our solution in order to make it basic. Then we're gonna go ahead and cap it off
Mix it up.
and swirl it around and mix it
And
up.
if we let this sit for about a minute or two, it should eventually turn colorless as the methylene blue takes some of the electrons from the glucose. As you can see, we've lost the blue color.
So as you can see, our solution turned completely colorless. That's because the methylene blue took all of the electrons from the glucose, causing it to not have any color whatsoever. But we can add the color back in. The simple way we do that is have the oxygen in the air take the electrons from the methylene blue. And all we have to do is vigorously shake it up.
So there's still some oxygen trapped inside the flask here, and so by shaking this up, the oxygen should be able to take the electrons back, causing the blue color to return.
Look at that. Look at how good that is. And then it will just return back to normal. So the more oxygen we add, the bluer it turns. Isn't that amazing? So in a chemical reaction, you usually have something called a reductant. It's something that gives electrons, like our glucose. And you also have something called an oxidizer, which receives electrons. So in our chemical reaction, we had methylene blue taking electrons from the glucose. That's what caused it to turn that colorless color. Then when we added the oxygen back in, the oxygen took the electrons from the methylene blue and caused it to turn blue again. Now, why did the glucose give the electrons straight to the oxygen?
Well, there are a lot of things happening in there as well, and the electrons were more easily able to go from the glucose to the methylene blue since they were both in the liquid structure. But when we shake it up, we can then sort of forcefully introduce the oxygen into that substance and sort of physically mix the oxygen with the rest of that solution, causing the oxygen to take the electrons back and bringing it back to its blue color again.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to give it a like and make sure to check back next week for more Expulsion Science.
No complications, it's fine, just like you and I.